Hello and welcome everyone. Today I would like to talk about the first story, probably one of the first stories that I have written in my life. Um, it was talking about basically a person who had a lot of troubles with his parents. He was a bad son to his parents. He was very mean to his friends. And suddenly he felt like all his life was piece of hell. Nobody liked this person. Nobody liked him. So he decided to change. So he was a professor at the university in applied physics. So he was a very smart person, and he was obsessed with the idea of trying traveling machine because he thought that if he go back in time, he could fix all his problems and he could live his life correctly. So what he did actually, he designed this machine using the principles of quantum mechanics, and but too bad, after he designed his machine, he took the risk and he started and tested this machine on himself. But too bad, with a small miscalculation, he went in time 3 centuries, and he found himself in the 18th century. Instead of going back only 20 years, he was in the wrong time. So he thought that he was so screwed. He was so done. Like, he can't do anything about this. So he decided to kill himself. But when he was about to throw himself from the top of a mountain there, he thought that I could do something good to the humanity. It's not necessarily that I have good things to my family or my friends. I can do good things to humanity as well, all humanity. So being a professor at physics, and at that time was the time of Sir Isaac Newton, he said that if I could meet Isaac Newton, I could actually help him to improve his studies, and I could make the humanity go very advanced in everything by affecting a person like Isaac Newton. And especially this person came from the 21st century, so he knows a lot of things, obviously more than all the people in the 18th century. So but he tried to reach Sir Isaac Newton, but it was too hard, because Isaac Newton was a very famous person and not everyone could talk to him, of course. So he was able to, or he found himself forced to go to physics school in London to study physics, only to be able to be in the atmosphere of Isaac Newton so he could one day talk to him or build a relationship with Isaac Newton. And after spending his life studying physics again, things that he already knew, people there and students thought that he was very smart and he knows a lot of things. And they said this person has a bright future, and they don't know that he came from the 21st century already and he knows a lot of things, more than them. But suddenly, after that, after finishing his PhD, becoming a professor again in the 18th century, and he was able to meet Isaac Newton finally. But after sitting and talking to Isaac Newton, he was disappointed. First of all, Isaac Newton was not as special as he thought it would be. He's just a person. He was a person, but very smart. And Newton thought that this person is stupid, because he started talking to Newton about the internet and about things from the 21st century, but Newton didn't believe him, and he found himself, he wasted his time and he wasted his life. And he thought that I'm a failure. Not only in the 21st century, but even in the 18th century, I was not able to achieve anything. And even Isaac Newton rejected him. And he was telling people, and he decided to do that by himself. And he started making conferences and meeting with the scientists at that time in the 18th century and telling them about the internet, how to travel to space, things. He told them about cars, about things like that. But unfortunately, people thought that he was a stupid person because nobody believed that that would be even possible. So he was so disappointed. He was so miserable. And he decided to finish his life again. He went to his house in a dark room. He closed the door, he locked the door, and he carried a weapon, a gun actually, a revolver especially, and he aimed it to his head, pulled the trigger, but suddenly he thought, how I have a revolver, a gun in the 18th century. Then he figured out that all that was a dream, and then suddenly he waked up in the 21st century. All that was a dream. His life was just as miserable as he thought. He was still reading. He was actually reading a novel or a book about time-traveling machine. All that was a dream. So he was so miserable again. But the dream felt so real. So he decided he want to fix his life. He want to fix his life even if it was too late. He want to build relationships again with his parents. He don't know where his parents live actually. He went to his house when he was a kid, to his parents' house, to find out that his father had an Alzheimer's disease and he was not able to recognize his son. And he found also that his mom was dead 5 years ago from lung cancer. It was too late. Then he decided to call one of his friends. Dad, he literally was very bad to his friends. He destroyed the life of his friend by making him divorced and from his wife. And his friend lost his job. And his life became so miserable. But he found that his friend killed himself 1 year ago because his life was so bad and he was so miserable. But then he talked to himself when he went back to his home and looked at himself at the mirror and said, I actually still can make things better. Maybe not for my family, maybe not for my friend, but for the world. He was a rich man. He collected some money from teaching physics in the university, and he decided to give away all his money to charity, and he started to giving lectures in physics for free for poor students. He decided to do everything that he can to help people. He became a good believer. He tried to fix all the problems. He tried to fix the world and make it a little better as much as he can. Then he felt relief. Then he was satisfied and he was happy because finally, no matter what, no matter how many mistakes he did in his life, but he deserved to live because everyone makes mistakes and everyone can start over and everyone can make the world a little bit better as he was able to from his position as a professor of physics, from someone who has little money. This is what he was able to do. And one day, he was at his room, sitting on the couch. He felt so ill suddenly, and suddenly he saw the angels wearing white. They came to him and said, you suffered a lot. Now it's your time. Now it's your time to be happy. And he was dead as a good person, and that was the end.